if you just look at gold over the past number of months, it's been on an absolute tear. What's going on here? Usually when gold has a rip, Bitcoin will follow, and Bitcoin has not followed, like you're saying. The question is, why has Bitcoin not kept up? But it's going to, in the end, we all know it's going to happen, but it's going to scream past gold. I expect for Bitcoin to...
You opted out of the broken financial system by adopting Bitcoin and taking self-custody of your money. But protecting your wealth is only part of the equation. Now it's time to protect your freedom. My family is stacking sats and stacking flags. A second passport is our hedge against government overreach and uncertainty. If you're a Bitcoiner looking for your exit strategy, our friends at Citizen X will help you secure second citizenship through investment or descent. Book your free call today by hitting the link in the show notes or simply scanning the QR code on the screen. Let me break this down for my fellow Bitcoiners. In just 8 weeks, I've seen a serious shift. More strength, more energy, and fast muscle gains. The reason? FITSCRIPT. They ran 124 biomarkers, blood, hormones, inflammation, and built a fully custom plan, nutrition, training, supplements. No guesswork, no templates. This is functional medicine meets precision fitness for high-performing men who want sovereignty over their health. If you care about optimization the way you care about your money, test, don't guess. Don't trust, verify. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to check out FITSCRIPT and see what's possible. I said I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how gold's been behaving this year. We've seen it doing very well, regular new all-time highs. We've kind of seen Bitcoin lagging gold a little bit. It hasn't been doing its thing yet, where gold will have a price explosion and then Bitcoin will do its thing and kind of follow up with an equally, if not more, violent move. And I guess my question is, should we expect that coming down the line, or is this kind of an indication that right now we're skirting between people that understand what it truly is, which is, again, something that allows you to store the fruits of your labor way into the future and secure them, a new age gold for the new generation. Is it between the people that understand that and the people that are still thinking of it like a tech stock? Is there a push and pull, thus the crab walk that we've seen the last few months, or is there something else going on here? I'll let either of you dive in.
Yeah, I mean, look, gold has been on a tear, right? So if you just look at gold over the past number of months, I shared another chart here for you. It's been on an absolute tear. What's going on here? Well, you've got a lot of central banks that are buying gold right now. They're buying gold in massive quantities. And they're doing that because they're not trusting U.S. Treasury quite as much anymore as a reserve asset. And they want to hold gold to protect them against fiat inflation everywhere. That's just reality. And secondly, you've got a lot of people who are buying gold just as protection against uncertainty. You've got this market that we don't know what's happening with it. We don't know where it's going. We don't know if we're going to have a turnover in the economy or not. You've got a lot of global unrest, as we know, that has not really, it's not spilled over into a world war, but we've got proxy wars everywhere. And so there's just unrest. And then, of course, gold is also sniffing out the fact that the Fed's pivoting here. It's going to pivot. It has to pivot, and they're going to have to move back toward more liquidity. And gold usually takes off in those cases. So the question is, why has Bitcoin not kept up? Well, it's exactly what you said. If we go to this chart, you see Bitcoin usually does when gold has a rip, Bitcoin will follow. and it's done that consistently. This is not a long enough chart to really see enough of it, but you can see here that gold has taken off and Bitcoin has not followed, like you're saying. It has not followed yet, but it's going to. And the issues, like you said, in my opinion, is that Bitcoin's still trading like a risk-on asset. That's just reality. It's on your day-to-day, it trades like a risk-on asset. It doesn't have perfect correlation to the Nasdaq or the S&P anymore. It's pulled away from that correlation, but by and large, it leads the way, and you see it sell off on weekends right before the market sells off. It's something that institutional investors can trade over the weekend, so they'll use it. They'll use it to make sure that they get ahead of margin calls. But the issue here is that you've got uncertainty that kind of hurts markets, hurts Bitcoin in that Bitcoin's been grinding sideways here. But in the end, we all know what's going to happen. The Fed's going to expand liquidity and it's going to catch up and it's going to scream past gold. That's what I fully expect. I expect for Bitcoin to be up in this range at some point later this year, way past where gold is. So, gold's had that tremendous run. It's just kind of taking a little breather here. But again, because we had tempered comments out of Powell at the beginning of the press conference, you saw gold sell off. It just tanked. And that's, no surprise. It tanked. And then when he said, "Oh, it sounded a little bit more dovish," it kind of stabilized, and now it's moved up. But that's generally how I'm seeing it. And maybe Brandon has a different view on it, but that's generally how I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything James said. I mean, I think that it's, and we talked about this the other day on our show. It's how many people own gold across the world. The central banks owning it, and you would think that Bitcoin would run more just because it's 1/10 of the size and market cap of gold. But at the same time, it's something that Bitcoin is newer, it's just, again, it's kind of in the theme of the show a little bit. Like Bitcoin, it's 16 years, it's spread. I mean, it took gold hundreds and 1,000 years to become money across the world because we didn't have ways to communicate. Now Bitcoin has done what it's done in only 16 years. At the same time, again, it is that asset, like James just said, it's trading as risk on asset, something that people are, for lack of a better phrase, it's volatile to them. They're a little bit more scared of it. It's newer, to put it in layman's terms. So to me, it's the demographic cliff is huge. Harry Dent's been writing about this for 15 years. And that to me is really the changing of the guard. It's the silent generation and the boomer generation really sunsetting and going away. That to me is where everything kind of lies. The devil in the details is the next 10 to 20 years. We're going to have big gold movements because that's where the games are being played right now. Whether it's BRICS or whatever is going on with different assets moving around the world and geopolitical risk games, the actual game of risk, and the countries moving things around geopolitically. That is the game right now, whether we like it or not, whether Bitcoiners like it or not. That's the game, and we have to be pragmatic about that. I think Bitcoiners, a lot of us are very idealistic. We're forward thinkers. We tend to be entrepreneurial. So we are bringing the world into the future, but sometimes it's hard for us to be pragmatic and see the world for what it is right this second, and the nature of what life is, and the networks that are already built and already established, the good old boys clubs that are already established, a trillion of them all around the world. Well, those things are hard to break. When you mix that with the demographics, they all kind of go together. It takes time. So, old habits die hard.
Yeah, there's something else that, Ben, that we haven't talked about is that the Fed has been hinting at a third mandate. A third mandate would be to make sure that the long-term rates are kept under control. And remember, the Fed controls the short end of the curve. They control Fed funds rate. And and that in turn helps control up to about the 2-year ish. They do not control the 5-year, the 7-year, the 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year. They don't control those rates, especially the 10-year. And so The only way they can control those is with yield curve control, with QE, with going into the market, stepping into the market and buying bonds to keep rates low. And gold is kind of sniffing out that that's what they're headed towards. In my opinion, it's sniffing out that they're headed towards making sure they use yield curve control, because everything we talked about earlier in the show, they must allow for high perpetual inflation. It can't be 0% inflation. It's got to be 2, 3, 4%. They'll admit to 2.5%, 3%, but there are pockets of inflationary pressures that are just ignored clearly. And so you can't tell me, with my auto insurance company wanting to double my rates this year with a perfect driving record and not even a speeding ticket with the last 5 years, they want to double it. It's just ludicrous, you know? So, and it's all over the place with insurance and rent and all that. But one of the things that is going on is that you've got whispers from Fed officials that they know that they can't let the long end get out of control. What does that mean? That's a third mandate, which means that it's a silent mandate, but they're going to exercise QE to keep the long end of the curve down, which allows for long-term inflation.
Hey, you. Yes, you watching the Bitcoin price movements and the latest exciting news. It's awesome to stay informed, but the real power of Bitcoin comes from taking control. Don't just watch, take action. Head over to btcsessions.ca/learn for free step-by-step tutorials that guide you through every major skill you need to know, plus full video playlists for deeper dives on any topic you like. And if you're ready for the ultimate fast track, scroll to the bottom and check out bitcoinmentor.io for premium one-on-one experience with my team of Bitcoin experts to ensure you get it right the first time. Don't wait. Secure your Bitcoin future today. Hit the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen.